In this episode, we talk about the coach of the Indian women's hockey team lamenting about the challenges she has faced as a woman in the country. We also talk about an IPS officer hitting back at BJP leaders after allegedly being called a Khalistani. But first, we talk about a new generative AI tool. Hi, I am Niharika Nanda, and you are listening to Three Things, the Indian Express news show. Earlier this month, OpenAI, the creator of the revolutionary chatbot ChatGPT, unveiled a new generative artificial intelligence model capable of converting text prompts into video. The text-to-video software called Sora can generate hyper-realistic videos up to 1 minute long. Last week, the founder of OpenAI, Sam Altman, shared a few creations of Sora based on prompts requested by his followers. From cycling dolphins to a squirrel riding a dragon, most of the prompts were pretty unusual. But the results that Sam shared on social media were surprisingly accurate. But OpenAI has admitted that the model is still far from perfect and may struggle with more complex prompts. In fact, the technology is still not accessible to general public. In this segment, my colleague Rahel Philipose is joined by Indian Express's Bijin Jose to understand how Sora works and what are its limitations.
So, Bijin, what exactly is Sora and why is it such a big deal?
So, Sora is the latest generative AI model developed by OpenAI, who has created ChatGPT. So, this is a big deal because so far we have had several text-to-video models, which is actually natural language prompts converting into videos. But they have not reached this kind of perfection before. That makes it a big deal.
Right. And can you talk about how exactly this technology works and the kind of prompts that it responds to?
So Sora is what you call it in the tech lingo, a diffusion transformer model. This is slightly technical. When it comes to diffusion, transformers are normally the neural networks which were actually founded by Google. And then diffusion models are actually the foundation models on which text-to-image models are built, like the DALL-E 3 and all. So Sora is essentially a combination of both of these. So what happens is when you put a text prompt, like a photorealistic video of two mammoths walking in a snow, Sora does is like it analyzes the prompt and it starts with a granular image and it perfects it over time until it matches the user's prompt.
Okay, and for our listeners who might not be familiar with text-to-image models like DALL-E, these are essentially AI tools that generate an image based on very specific text prompts, right? Is that how Sora will work too?
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, we can see like, flying elephants and everything. And the best to me is the biggest advantage of this model is that it is generating full HD image resolutions, which is never done then. And this transition has happened over a year. Earlier in the beginning of this year, in 2023, we saw an AI video that was where we saw Will Smith eating fries and it was a very sloppy, choppy video. And now we are like exposed to Sora's results, which are like very dynamic and crystal clear videos.
Right. And Bijin, we've seen text-to-image models before. Why is text-to-video so much harder to achieve?
So I have to add this there. Like in the last 2 years, there have been several text-to-video models out there, but they were not as known as Sora, mainly because of the clarity and the high-definition images that they are building. But these models, like from Meta, we had Emu, and Runway created something called Gen 2. And Stability AI, again, the stable video diffusion model. And in January this year, Google released its Lumiere AI model. So the thing is that with these models, largely the delay is because, of course, the humongous amount of computing power that is required to, process these models at scale. So, yeah, we have had models in the past as well, but then the precision at which Sora is, giving its outcomes is something that is truly unmatched.
And right now, what would you say are some of the limitations of the Sora model?
So with OpenAI, whatever sample videos that they have released, all of them look stunning. And there's no doubt about that. This is the perfect text to video model so far. But if you have a second go at those videos, there are telltale signs where you can see some blurry images or where motions are confused. So in OpenAI's words itself, Sora at this point of time struggles to create physics of complex scene. Like I'll give you an example. This is actually cited by OpenAI. Like a man may be seen eating a cookie. Once he takes the cookie away from his mouth, the bite mark might not be visible on the cookie. Yeah. So these are the limitations and I think they are working on it right now.
Right. And an obvious concern that arises is that of deepfakes and misinformation. Do we know how OpenAI is addressing those concerns with Sora?
See, there are two things to understand here. Like, firstly, Sora is not yet out in public domain. It is still in a red teaming phase where a bunch of testers are actually doing adversarial tests. That is like how bad it can be, And when it comes to OpenAI, the company has stated that they have already placed several safety measures and they are working with different kinds of domain experts in terms of misinformation, hateful content. So these are being worked upon, and so far we also know that OpenAI is working on something called detection classifier, which is actually a guardrail that detects hateful content and anything that is, expletive ridden or, objectionable content.
Now, even after ChatGPT was introduced, there was a lot of talk around generative AI potentially disrupting industries and leading to job loss. It's clear with Sora that generative AI tech is only getting better. What are your thoughts on what this could mean for jobs?
Yeah, so for someone who has been tracking AI developments for the past 1 year, I have come to this conclusion is that there would be some job losses, but largely jobs won't be impacted. Because I see from whatever practical use cases that I have witnessed, that I have tried, I essentially see AI as a co-pilot. It is here to assist us. And in terms of Sora, I don't see any massive job cuts because of Sora. If at all some jobs are to be, impacted, it could be mostly maybe the websites or providers of stock videos, like the videos you see for real estate and tourism. Maybe Sora can be a great use case there.
And next, we talk about Janneke Schopman, the first female to coach the Indian women's hockey team. In a recent interview with the Indian Express, Schopman opened up about the differential treatment that the team faces and lamented that India is extremely difficult for a woman. In this segment, we are joined by Mihir Vasavda, the host of the Express Sports podcast, who spoke to Schopman for the paper. So, Mihir, can you begin by telling us a little about the Indian women's hockey team's coach, Janneke Schopman?
Right. So Janneke Schopman, she is a Dutch hockey legend, so to say. She's been a great player herself. She won the gold medal at the Olympics in 2008 as a player, then went on to become a coach. She first started coaching at club level in the Netherlands, which is, after India, I think the biggest hockey country. And in the last few decades, in terms of success, it's had more success compared to India. And women's hockey team is considered to be one of the best ever team sport teams, so to say. And after her playing career, Janneke Schopman became a coach. She was with the USA first, and after that, she joined India.
And talking about Coach Schopman, how long has she been coaching the Indian women's hockey team, and what are some of the important events that the team witnessed under her?
She first came to India in 2019 as a visiting team coach. She was the coach of the USA team that played India in the qualifiers of the Tokyo Olympics. So happened that India defeated Janneke Schopman's team, the USA, and they qualified for the Olympics. And what happened later on is the then India coach Shod Marine, he had worked along with Janneke for a brief period back then, and he then asked her to come on board and join the team. So it was in January 2020, if I recall properly, that Schopman became an assistant coach of the Indian women's hockey team. And she's been attached ever since. So she traveled with the team at the Tokyo Olympics, where the women's team finished fourth. It's their best ever performance. And immediately after the Tokyo Olympics, the chief coach, Shod Marine, quit. And Janneke, as per the succession plan, she became the chief coach. She has coached India at many major events. In 2022, she was the coach at the World Cup, followed by the Commonwealth Games. After that, she was the coach of the team at the Asian Games last year and the Olympic qualifiers this year. And the team has had moderate success. The team finished ninth at the World Cup, which isn't seen as a satisfactory performance. Then at the Commonwealth Games, they finished among medals. This was followed by another dip of form, and at the Asian Games last year, the team did not win the gold medal, which would have assured them of an automatic place at the Paris Olympics. And eventually, it so happened that when the qualifiers were held in January, the team did not do well and they could not qualify for the Olympics.
Right. And you had the opportunity to talk to Coach Schopman. How did she describe her experience as the coach of the women's hockey team?
She wasn't really too happy with her experience here. To quote her, she said that she didn't feel like she was valued or respected, and she's also lamented how India is a tough country, a very difficult country for women to work. And I mean, she's spoken a lot about the day-to-day challenges she's faced in the 2.5 years as chief coach, and spoken about the preferential treatment the men's team got compared to the women.
And what were her thoughts about having to work with Hockey India team?
So she, in her words, I mean, I'll just quote here straight up what she said, that she said it was very hard because I come from a culture where women are respected and valued. I don't feel that here. She made it a point to underline that Hockey India president Dilip Tirki, who is also a former India men's team captain, and the CEO of Hockey India, Elena Norman, she received a lot of support from her, but from the other staff, and the other staff, the main people would be the director, the secretary general, apart from the organizational team. She said that she didn't get a lot of support from there. And I mean, we asked her if this was the reason, then what made her continue as the coach and if she ever contemplated quitting, to which she said yes. Her family, in fact, suggested her to quit last year itself, 1 year into the job. And she, in hindsight, said that the right time for her to quit would have been after the medal at the Commonwealth Games. But she continued for the simple reason that she loved the team, loved the girls, quote unquote, and saw a lot of potential in them, and hence stayed on, even though it was, again, quotes, very hard for me as an individual.
And here, did she talk about any specific instances that made her feel this way?
One thing that she said was in January 2023, the Men's World Cup was held in India, and they failed miserably. They couldn't qualify for the quarterfinals, which for a team that finished as the third place team at the Olympics, won the bronze medal, was seen as a failure. After that setback, she claimed that all the attention was then on the men's team and how to improve them, and the women did not get the same priority or the same treatment. And one more thing that she said, that even when she was the assistant coach, I'll quote her again, some people wouldn't even look at me or wouldn't acknowledge me or wouldn't respond. And then you become the chief coach and all of a sudden people are interested in you. I struggled a lot with that. So again, that thing that she said about not getting enough respect comes through here.
And here, this discrimination against a female coach, where do we think it's stemming from?
It's tough to say. I mean, this is just one side of the story. Hockey India, of course, through their quotes given to the national agency PTI, they have denied it. So it's tough to establish where it's stemming from. But again, there has been a history of the women's hockey team getting stepmotherly treatment in India. And it's not the first time any coach has spoken about it. The previous coach, Shodh Marine, too, has said that the men's team got preferential treatment. They got all the good access, all the good facilities and matches, which wasn't the case always with the women's team. So it's not the first time this has been said, and I'm sure it won't be the last time too.
And what was her take on the future of Indian women's hockey team?
So we asked her if she would, after all this, still continue with the team. Her contract runs till August this year. That's when the Olympics are supposed to end. So her contract is till the end of the Olympics, and in between there is one tournament still left to play. She said she'll need time to reflect. They have a break now, so she'll use that time to consider whether she wants to continue. Three things depend on that: whether the players want her to be there, whether Hockey India wants her to be there, and whether she herself is willing to continue. She said maybe there is a possibility that she'll continue, and the only reason for that is because, quote unquote, she loves the players, sees a lot of potential in them, and if they're supported well, there is a bright future for the team.
And in the end, we talk about the Sandesh Khali violence. Upset over being called a Khalistani, a Sikh IPS officer hit back at a group of protesting West Bengal BJP leaders and activists, including the leader of opposition, Suvendu Adhikari. The officer asked the leaders not to indulge in typecasting people and leave his faith alone. The incident, which has snowballed into a fresh confrontation between the BJP and the ruling Trinamool Congress, took place on Monday when a police contingent stopped the BJP leaders and workers from visiting Sandesh Khali, which is at the center of a separate political row. A video of the incident showed SSP Jaspreet Singh, a 2016 batch IPS officer, standing in front of BJP leaders, including MLA Agnimitra Paul, and responding angrily after being called a Khalistani.
एक पुलिस ऑफिसर जिसने पगड़ी पहना है उसको आप खालिस्तानी बोल रहे हैं क्योंकि वो अपनी ड्यूटी कर रहा है They are making comments. They are saying me Khalistani. क्यों? मैंने टर्बन पहना इसलिए.
Speaking out against the incident, Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee slammed the BJP, accusing it of indulging in divisive politics. Soon after she posted the video, many of her party leaders condemned the incident, and a Sikh community organization also protested in front of the BJP state office in Kolkata. The BJP, however, dismissed claims that any of the party leaders or workers called the police officer a Khalistani. Yesterday, Adhikari said, quote, "We never do such things. We do nationalist politics, oppose Pakistanis and Khalistanis, but we never said such things to the officer." Unquote. You were listening to Three Things by the Indian Express. Today's show was edited and mixed by Suresh Pawar and produced by Shashank, Bhargava, Rahel, Philipose and me, Niharika, Nanda. If you like the show, then do subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. You can also recommend the show to someone you think will like it and share it with a friend or someone in your family. It's the best way for people to get to know about us. You can also tweet us at Express Audio and write to us at podcasts@indianexpress.com.